The number on the screen is 10,000. That is the CDC's mid-season estimate for American lives lost to influenza so far this winter. It is not a prediction, it is a body count. And with over 32 children already dead, this is a 2026 flu season on track to be one of the deadliest in recent memory. But here is the brutal truth that gets lost in the statistics. Most people don't die from the flu virus itself. They die because of the catastrophic biological storm it unleashes inside their bodies, a storm that can shatter the heart, drown the lungs, and send the brain into fatal inflammation. This is not just a bad cold. This is a systemic, vascular, and inflammatory crisis masquerading as a respiratory infection. Welcome to Health Inside, Anatomy and Science. Today, we are confronting the deadly anatomy of influenza. We will go beyond the headlines to explain the precise, often hidden mechanisms that turn a week of fever into a death sentence for tens of thousands of people each year. We'll map how the H3N2K variant is driving this year's surge and reveal why the single most important factor determining whether you survive isn't your age or health, it's a simple annual shot. Part 1. The Grim Arithmetic, Understanding the 2026 Data. Let's first ground ourselves in the scale of the tragedy. As of mid-January 2026, the CDC estimates at least 9,300 to 10,000 total deaths, 32 pediatric deaths, with a heartbreaking 15 in the first week of January alone, 18 million illnesses, 230,000 hospitalizations. This puts the 2025-26 season on a moderately severe track, potentially rivaling the devastating 2017-18 season that killed 61,100 Americans. The driver is the H3N2 subclade K variant, a virus with enough genetic drift to partially evade prior immunity, allowing it to infect more people more intensely. But infection is just the beginning. Death comes from the complications. Part 2. The real killers, the three main biological pathways to death. Voice. The virus doesn't have to invade your heart or brain directly to destroy them. It uses your own immune system as a weapon. Here are the three main biological pathways to death. Number 1. Primary viral pneumonia, the lung drowning. This is the flu virus itself attacking the lungs with ferocious speed. It destroys the ciliated epithelial cells that line the airways and the type 1 and type 2 pneumocytes that make up the delicate air sacs alveoli, where oxygen exchange happens. The lungs literally drown. This is often what kills previously healthy adults in their prime during pandemics and is a major risk with aggressive strains like H3N2. Number 2. Secondary bacterial pneumonia, the opportunistic assassin. More common than primary viral pneumonia. The flu virus acts as the breach. By damaging the respiratory epithelium and suppressing local immunity, it opens the door for bacteria like Streptococcus pneumoniae, Staphylococcus aureus, including MRSA, or Haemophilus influenzae to invade. This often causes a biphasic illness. The patient starts to feel better, then crashes with a worse fever and cough days later. This secondary infection is a leading cause of death, especially in the elderly. Number 3. Systemic cardiovascular catastrophe, the heart attack trigger. This is the most underreported and insidious killer. The massive systemic inflammation from the flu, the cytokine storm, has devastating effects on the cardiovascular system. Plaque rupture. Inflammatory cytokines make atherosclerotic plaques in coronary arteries unstable. They can rupture, triggering a heart attack, myocardial infarction. Studies show the risk of heart attack is 6 times higher in the week after a confirmed flu infection. Myocarditis. The inflammation can directly infect and inflame the heart muscle itself, leading to heart failure and arrhythmias. Stroke. The same inflammatory and hypercoagulable state, clot-promoting state, can cause blood clots that travel to the brain, causing ischemic strokes. This is why the global death toll, when including cardiovascular events, may reach 700,000 annually. The flu is a heart disease. Part 3. The pediatric tragedy, why children are uniquely vulnerable. The voice. The loss of a child to flu is a uniquely devastating tragedy. The 2026 data shows 90% of pediatric deaths occurred in unvaccinated or not fully vaccinated children. Their vulnerability is anatomical and immunological. Smaller airways. Their bronchi and bronchioles are narrower. Inflammation and mucus can obstruct them more easily, leading to respiratory failure. Immature immune systems. They may mount an overwhelming but dysregulated inflammatory response, a cytokine storm, or fail to control secondary bacterial infections. Common co-infections. Children are more likely to have co-infections with RSV or bacteria, creating a perfect storm in their lungs. Neurological complications. They are at higher risk for acute encephalopathy and seizures from high fever and neuroinflammation. The record 289 pediatric deaths in the 2024-25 season stands as a horrifying monument to vaccine hesitancy and the true cost of underestimating this virus. Part 4. The Pandemic Perspective. What History Teaches Us. Voice. To understand flu's potential, we must look at history. Pandemics occur when a virus with a novel hemagglutinin H surface protein emerges, to which no one has immunity. 1918 H1N1, Spanish flu, killed an estimated 50 to 100 million, many young, healthy adults. It likely triggered a catastrophic cytokine storm, a hyperinflammatory friendly fire attack by the immune system on the lungs. 1957 H2N2 and 1968 H3N2, each killed about 1 million globally. The 1968 H3N2 pandemic, a descendant of which is circulating now, was less severe, partly because many had some cross-protection from earlier H2N2 strains. 2009 H1N1 swine flu killed an estimated 150,000 to 575,000 in its first year, disproportionately affecting children and younger adults, a sign of its novelty. These pandemics show that flu's deadliness is a combination of viral genetics and population immunity. The H3N2K variant is not a pandemic strain, but its significant drift is a stark reminder of the virus's relentless evolution. Part 5. The Life-Saving Intervention. What the data says about vaccination. The Voice. In the face of this biological onslaught, we have one overwhelmingly powerful tool, the flu vaccine. Its impact is measured in lives saved. It reduces the risk of flu illness by 40 to 60% in a well-matched season. Its most critical function is severity reduction. A 2022 CDC study found flu vaccination among adults was associated with a 26% lower risk of ICU admission and a 31% lower risk of death from flu. For children, vaccination reduces the risk of flu-related death by 75%. The data is unequivocal. Nearly all pediatric flu deaths are preventable. The vaccine works by priming your immune system. Even if you get sick, your memory B cells and T cells respond faster and more effectively, blunting the viral replication that leads to pneumonia and dampening the inflammatory cascade that triggers heart attacks. It is not a perfect force field. It is a biological airbag. It may not prevent the crash, but it dramatically increases your chances of walking away. The Voice. The yearly flu death toll is not an act of God. It is a measure of our collective vulnerability to a shape-shifting virus and a report card on our use of the scientific tools we have to fight it. Each of the 10,000 American deaths this season represents a failure of the virus to be milder, or too often, a failure to deploy our best defense. The flu kills through pneumonia, through heart attacks, through strokes, but it also kills through complacency. By understanding the precise, brutal biology of how it takes a life, we can arm ourselves with the respect and the vaccine this formidable adversary demands. If this sobering look at the science behind flu mortality changed your perception of the seasonal flu, please give this video a thumbs up. This knowledge saves lives. Share it with someone who needs to understand why that yearly shot matters. Subscribe to Health Inside, Anatomy and Science, and hit the bell. We believe that understanding disease is the first step toward defeating it. Get vaccinated. Protect your heart. Protect your community.